Today I'm going to do a couple examples of long division of polynomials. I'm going to start with this first example that I have on this page. This example asks us to state if the given binomial is a factor of the given polynomial. What they're actually asking you to do is to divide this binomial into this trinomial and see if there is a remainder. If there is no remainder, then it is a factor. If it is a factor, that means that we can solve this factor and it will tell us where the x-intercept of the graph is. We also can use the quotient to find the other factor or factors of the polynomial. So let's start off by doing division. We're going to set it up just as we would a long division problem with a box. The divisor will go on the outside of the box, and the dividend will go inside of the box. There are two things that you want to check for every time that you set a problem up. You want to look and see if all the terms are there, and what I mean by that is you don't have any missing variables, like it doesn't go from p cubed down to p. And you also want to check and make sure that the variables are written in descending order by exponent. After you have things set up correctly, we are only going to focus on the first term of each polynomial for our division. And we're going to follow the 4 steps of long division. We'll divide first, then we will multiply, subtract, and then bring down. And we'll keep repeating these steps over and over until we are done. Divide. We're going to divide p into 5p squared. If you need to write it differently so that you can see how to do the division, that's okay. Remember, you divide the numbers and you subtract the exponents. So the answer to this is 5p. I'm going to write it over the second term because I'm dividing a binomial, which has 2 terms. After you've done the division step, you're going to take your answer, 5p, and you're going to multiply it times both terms of the divisor. If you need to write it over here to the side as a multiplication problem so that you can see that distribution, you can go ahead and do that. You'll get 2 answers. The answers will go here, 5p squared plus 35p. Step 3 is to subtract. I tell my classes to draw the line and change both signs. Now we'll combine the terms just like we see them. A positive 5p squared minus 5p squared cancels out. Positive 42 and negative 35 gives me positive 7p. Bring down the next term. Now we'll start the process again. Focus only on the first terms of each polynomial. How many times will p divide into 7p? Positive 7. If I take 7 and I multiply it times both terms of the divisor, I get 7p plus 49. I'm going to draw a line and I will subtract. So I will change both signs. The first term cancels and the second term cancels, meaning that I have no remainder. Because I have no remainder, it does mean that p plus 7 is a factor of this polynomial, and 5p plus 7 is the other factor. Now I want to show you an example where we will have a remainder, and we are going to write our answer as the quotient plus the remainder over the divisor. We'll set this problem up with p plus 2 on the outside and p cubed plus 4p squared minus 6p minus 15 underneath the box. Check to make sure that all your terms are there and that they are in descending order by exponent. Focus only on the first terms of each polynomial. I'm going to divide p into p cubed. Remember, it's actually a subtraction problem when you're dividing variables. 3 minus 1 is 2, so the answer is p squared. Take your p squared, multiply it times both terms of your divisor. You get p cubed plus 2p squared. Draw your line, change both signs. The first term cancels out, and I'm going to combine the second term. A positive 4 with a negative 2 is positive 2p squared. Bring down the negative 6p. Now let's start the process over again. Focus only on the first terms. P divides into 2p squared, positive 2p. Take your answer, 2p, and multiply it times both terms. You'll get 2p squared plus 4p. Draw your line, change both signs. The first term cancels out, and I'm combining negative 6p with negative 4p, and that gives me negative 10p. Bring down the negative 15. Final step. Focus only on the first terms. P divides into negative 10p, negative 10 times. Negative 10 times both terms is negative 10p minus 20. Draw your line, change both signs. First term cancels out, and you're left with a remainder of 5. To write your remainder, put down a plus sign. Whatever you have as a remainder will go to the top of the fraction, and your divisor will be the bottom of the fraction. In this last example, I wanted to show you a problem where we do have some missing terms and we're dividing by a trinomial instead of a binomial. We're going to put our trinomial x squared plus 3x plus 1 on the outside of the box. And when we write our dividend, we need to double check for missing terms. I am missing an x cubed and I'm missing an x. Wherever the missing terms are, you're going to want to write a 0 in front of that term. Now I'm going to write out the complete dividend. 6x to the fourth plus 0x cubed plus 2x squared plus 0x plus 5. Now, just like before, we're only going to focus on the first terms. How many times will x squared divide into 6x to the fourth? 6x squared. Take your answer, multiply it, 6x squared times all three terms. My answers are 6x to the fourth plus 18x cubed plus 6x squared. Draw a line, change all three signs. The first term cancels, and we're going to combine the next two. 0 and negative 18 gives me negative 18x cubed. Positive 2 with negative 6 is negative 4x squared. Bring down the next term. Let's start the process over and focus only on the first terms. How many times will x squared divide into negative 18x cubed? Negative 18x. Take your negative 18x, multiply it times all three terms. Negative 18x cubed, negative 54x squared, and negative 18x. Draw a line, change all three signs, and combine your terms. The first one cancels, and then I get 50x squared plus 18x. Bring down the final term. Start the process over and only focus on the first term. How many times will x squared go into 50x squared? Positive 50. Again, if you need to write your division problem out to the side so that you can realize you are dividing the numbers, 50 divided by 1, and you're subtracting the exponents. 2 minus 2 is 0. Take your 50, multiply it times all three terms, and you'll get 50x squared plus 150x plus 50. Draw your line, change all three signs. First terms cancel. I get negative 132x minus 45. To write my remainder, I'll put down a plus sign. I'll take the entire remainder. It will go to the top of my fraction. The denominator of my remainder is my divisor, x squared plus 3x plus 1.